and out, riddled with doubt, had nowhere to go. Everything's moving so slow, the time's moving too fast. I hope this feeling don't last. Well, I've been away from myself too long. My body is aching from all my wrongs. And now that I know I'm not that strong, I'll keep slipping onto you. I'll keep slipping until my time is through. I'll keep slipping onto you, yeah, onto you. Well, I've been away from myself too long. My body is aching from all my wrongs. And now that I know I'm not that strong, I'll keep slipping onto you. I'll keep slipping until my time is through. I'll keep slipping onto you, yeah, onto you. I was down and out, so riddled with doubt.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Whew. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
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 Thank you. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
I am the devil. I am the Lord Satan from the netherworld, ruler of the damned and eternal king of hell. Even I, the master of deceit, can only stomach so much bullshit from the mainstream media and indie grifters. That's why I tune in to Morning Extra with Uncle Warren, because he eliminates my competition, and also because I know I'm gonna see that motherfucker soon.
Deo, Deo.
Baby's got a booger and a shooter and that shit is all go down. Baby's got a booger and a shooter and that shit is all go down. Corrosion. Corrosion to the thighs. Erosion. Erosion of her pride. Baby's got sugar. Baby's got. Baby's got. Corrosion now. Corrosion now. Baby's got it.
Hello there. Oh, that is a bit much. There we go. Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 1st, in the year of our Lord 2025, and it is our 1-year anniversary. We started this show. Ow, ow, it hurts. It's the sun, it burns. Or it's pointy. That hurts too. You ever get draw blood? You know, they ever do it like they do a little bip. And you're like, you gotta bleed for them. I'm not talking about nurses. I'm just talking about regular people just on the street. Just vampires wanting your blood. That's silly talk. It is. It's Tuesday, July 1st. Doesn't exist, man. You sure as fuck do exist up in this chat. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you. Of course, we got Max Sarjay. Max Sarjay. The War and Peace Report. And our buddy Chuck's Intergalactic UFO Show Intergalactic. No time for Fuddruckers. What? There's no time for Fuddruckers, but there's always room for Jello. Just not with Bill Cosby involved. You don't want that. Speaking of shit you don't want, we have coffee that we're selling here at the show because we love money. I love money. I like to bathe in it and I rub my chest with it and go, oh, feeling lightheaded. So we're pimping Desperation Blend Extra Dark Roast Ground Coffee. Worshipped on the Klingon homeworld Kronos. It is Tadata Hach, which means the coffee of warriors. Also, if warriors include kamikaze pilots. Does the notion of throwing your money away appeal to you? Are you looking to wake up to even more disappointment in the morning? I know I am. Question mark. Is God's punishment not enough penance to pay for your miserable existence. Then grab a bag of Desperation. That's right, it's Desperation Blend Extra Dark Roast Ground Coffee, found online and in a mass grave in Mexico near you. And that's the coffee bit. We did the coffee bit. We did the bit. We did the bit. Sponsored by Desperation Coffee. Yes. That's right, baby. You chat all you want. Watch out though, when Choosy gets here though. It's gonna be terrible. Choosy's a good person, but Choosy's a chatty Cathy. He's the Cathy de la Chatte. I don't know if that's French. I don't know how you say chatty Cathy. I didn't look that up in advance. I probably should have. Anywho, we got newsies for you here. That was our fake sponsor, by the way. That's not real coffee. Even in the comedic sense, it's not real coffee. John Kemper in the house. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, my friend. Here we are, face to face, a couple of silver spoons. I'm trying something different. I'm doing the old Starlight Mints this morning to see if I can keep the old throat coated. I've noticed the last couple of times they got a little... And I know the coffee and the milk have something to do with it, but I'm not giving that up. No siree, Bob. That ain't fucking happening at all. So, that being said, we're hoping the mint kind of does some stuff. And it tastes good, too. No books today, Choosy. I don't know. You know he's coming. That's some, look, Choosy's some reading rainbow motherfucker up in this bitch, man. He'll come up in there. It is the Choosy Story Hour in the chat. No, I'm telling you, I'm sorry. No, it's not real coffee. It's a fake. It's a comedy spot. It's a spoof. It's a spoof, my man. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to tease you. I mean, I can go get some shitty coffee and sell it for you if you want, but I don't know. Maybe I should. I should sell that coffee on here, right? Maybe people are like, oh, I'm going to go pick up some today. What? Really? This is dog shit mixed with cat urine. What do you, Choosy's probably like a prophet that should be quoted in like 2,000 years or something. No, he'll be quoted in 2,000 years because he'll still be chatting. He'll be chatting for as long as there are live chats for him to get into. He will be chatting for 2,000 years. Rising Cock Coffee, yikes. Is that like a male chicken that's waking up? Or, Kate, oh shit, I missed a discussion on the new coffee. It's not real coffee. It's my little fake coffee, because I've seen some creators in the space that sell some rather odd things, right? Like Jimmy sells the I think Jimmy sells the coffee too, Jimmy Dore. And that powdered like cereal, not powdered cereal, the powdered celery stuff or whatever. It's some sort of fiber thing. He does that too. And then what's his face at the moral majority? The Majority Report. He sells cereal, like dry cereal that you pour in a bowl and you put some milk on there and some berries and stuff. Whoa, cool you jets there. Nice glasses. Jesus. Anyway, so I figured, I'll go ahead and sell my ass. And I sell my ass on the corner and nobody wants to buy that anymore. They do all the app stuff now and I don't like being on those apps. Jimmy Dore would sell his mom to a crack dealer for another sub. If he hasn't done so already. It's honking ludicrous mud coffee, I get. Okay, all right, you're down with the bit, Kate. Thanks. Look, we got shit to do, lady, all right? Look, if you... Someone will look up Norman's disappearing chat in the way back in 100 years and say, what the fuck? Wait, that's Choozy's name? That's his name, Norman? Did you just out Choozy, John? I hope his name is Norman. I like that name. I like unique names like that you don't hear really that much anymore. Okay, so it's Tuesday, July 1st. It is our 1 year anniversary. 1 year ago today, I sat in this very chair and told you some bad news. And guess what? It's 1 year later. I'm sitting in the same ass chair. Oh, wait, that's not, his name isn't Norman. Okay. Kieran, what's up? Good to see you. We're getting started here. We're just getting started. We were selling some fake coffee here a second ago. What else fake stuff do you like? You like fake stuff? I like fake stuff. I just don't want to buy fake stuff. All right. What are we doing here? Okay, so, and after the show, I will have the links to all these stories that are in today's show. I'm going to start doing that from now on. I have an easier system of doing that. I stopped doing it before because it was too hard, and I'm tender and precious and cuddly and kitteny, you know? But now I'm not, and I made the shit easier, so. Yeah, I know, and the news is worse this year, isn't it? It sure as fuck is. Choozy is really Norm from Cheers. Choozy gives us big Normisms in this chat. He does. Choozy, here's the thing. So you get about an hour in, and everybody's chatting in the chat, and then I think it's just like they clear out because they know it's like a gunfight in the Old West. Because here comes Choozy. Wah, wah, wah. You know. They clear out of the chat because they know Choozy's going to take over. Hey, look, as far as the chat's concerned, that's why everybody's deputized, man. It's fucking Thunderdome as far as I'm concerned. I like to look in the chat, you know, as long as people are cool with each other. Don't be a dick. And if you're going to be a dick, at least be funny. You drink some Folgers, that's some fake coffee. I grew up, my parents had drank Maxwell House. And because I always remember the can, because after they would get done with the coffee, they'd use it for bacon grease. They'd say bacon grease in there. CBC voter, yes. All right, we were waiting on you to get here so we could start the show. Okay. And we are starting the show right now. Yeah. Okay, so same as it ever was. You don't need the talking heads to know what's going on in Israel and particularly in Gaza. As Israel bombs Gaza, aid sites, cafe, and school, killing 95 Palestinians. The only thing that changes really is the number. It fluctuates, but this whole thing, this headline is usually the same every fucking day. Israeli forces have bombed a cafe, a school, and food distribution sites in Gaza, killing at least 95 Palestinians, and attacked a hospital, wounding several more people. At least 62 of the victims of Monday's attacks were in Gaza City and the north of the territory. The figure includes 39 people who were killed in an Israeli strike on a seaside cafe, Al-Baka cafeteria, in northern Gaza City. Dozens more were wounded. Among the dead was journalist Ismail Abu Hattab, as well as women and children who had gathered at the cafe. So, of course, journalists, women, children, that's all Israel ever kills. Mystery, what's up? Good to see you, sweetie. Good morning to you. I'm being have with a long A. Good day. Okay. Choozy is our chum. Choozy will be in here shortly. You're going to have to make room because Choozy, you know what Choozy's going to do. Nom, 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 nom. Choozy's like Pac-Man eating them dots. That's what Choozy does. Pac-Man eats the chats. He goes, bop, 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 bop. Happy Tuesday to you, too. It's Taco Tuesday, right? 2 for Tuesday. One witness said that Israeli fighter jets carried out the strike. Fucking cowards. If you're going to do your genocide, at least look them in the face, right? We found people torn apart, said Yahya Sharif. This place wasn't affiliated with anyone. No politics and no military association whatsoever. It was packed with people, including children, for a birthday party. That's some Obama shit, bombing like weddings and birthday parties and shit. Didn't he do that too? The bombing flattened the cafe and left a huge crater in the ground. Al Jazeera's Hani Mahmoud, reporting from Gaza City, said the attack on the cafe occurred without any warning, because that's what Israel does, little sneaky bastards. This area serves as a refuge for many traumatized and displaced people, offering some relief from the oppressive heat of the tents. The bloodstains are still everywhere given the intensity of the explosion. Some of the bodies and pieces of flesh were collected from the flood of this place, he added. Also, yesterday, Israeli forces carried out an airstrike on a food distribution warehouse in the Zaytun neighborhood of Gaza City, killing at least 13 people who were trying to get rations. The Israeli military also bombed the Yafa school in Gaza City, which was sheltering hundreds of displaced Palestinians. Hamada Abu Jarada, who fled before the attack, said that displaced Palestinians received a 5-minute threat to evacuate. We don't know what to do and where to go. We have been let down by the entire world for more than 630 days. Death is with us and around us every day, Abu Jarada said, and is not wrong at all. The world did let those poor people down, for sure. In central Gaza, Israeli forces attacked the courtyard of Al-Aqsa Hospital in Deir el-Balah, where thousands of families had sought shelter. Video circulating online and verified by Al Jazeera showed chaos at the hospital, with people fleeing for safety as tents sheltering displaced families appeared damaged by the attack. Al Jazeera's Tariq Abu Azum, reporting from the scene of the hospital attack, said the army did not issue any warnings before the huge explosion. The site of the attack is about 10 meters or about 33 feet from our broadcast point. This is not the first time the hospital's courtyard has been attacked. At least 10 times this facility has been squarely targeted by Israeli forces, Abu Azum said. It's a staggering concentration of attacks on medical facilities, adding further burden on barely functioning hospitals. It's because everybody's Hamas, man. Hamas. Yeah, Obama. Yeah. In a statement, Gaza's government medical media office decried the attack by Israel, calling it a systematic crime against the Palestinian enclave's health system, which is, they always do that. They decry the attack, calling it war crime, something over and over and over. Its warplanes bombed a tent for the displaced inside the walls of Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, resulting in injuries at the site of the bombing, material damage, and directly threatening the lives of dozens of patients. It said Israel has repeatedly targeted dozens of hospitals during its 22-month war. Well, it's not a war on Gaza. During its 22-month genocide in Gaza, human rights groups and UN-backed experts have accused Israel of systematically destroying the enclave's healthcare system, along with the people. In southern Gaza, an Israel air attack killed at least 15 Palestinians waiting for food at aid distribution hubs run by the controversial U.S. and Israeli-backed, you guessed it, GHF, in Khan Yunis, according to sources at Nasser Medical Complex. Oh, GHF. You're always in a shit pickle, aren't you? 50 people were also wounded in the attack. They are the latest victims in a wave of daily carnage at these sites, which have killed nearly 600 Palestinians since GHF took over limited aid deliveries in Gaza in late May amid a crippling Israeli blockade. The Israeli military acknowledged on Monday that Palestinian civilians were harmed at the aid distribution centers, that they were harmed, saying that instructions had been issued to forces following lessons learned and that firing incidents were under review. Oh, the police. Investigating the police. We know how that works, don't we? Don't we know how that fucking works here in America? The police investigating the police. Lessons learned. There it is right there. They put the little quotes too. This follows the Israeli news outlet Haaretz report that soldiers operating near the aid sites in Gaza have been deliberately firing on Palestinians. They were also quoted as saying, "No shit, Sherlock." According to the report, which quoted unnamed Israeli soldiers, troops were told to fire at the crowds of Palestinians and use unnecessary lethal force against people who appeared to pose no threat. Israeli forces are also carrying out home demolitions in Khan Yunis, raising fears of a new ground invasion. The Israeli military, meanwhile, has issued more forced evacuation threats to Palestinians in large districts in northern Gaza, where Israeli forces had operated before and left behind wide-scale destruction, forcing a new wave of displacement. Explosions never stopped. They bombed schools and homes. It felt like earthquakes, said Salah, a father of 5 children from Gaza City. In the news, we hear a ceasefire is near. On the ground, we see death, and we hear explosions. That means Israel's near. If you hear death, if you see death and hear explosions. Desert Mantis, hello, good to see you, my friend. Just take a seat on the front pew there. We'll pass the plate around to you shortly. Israeli tanks pushed into the eastern areas of the Zaytun suburb in Gaza and shelled several areas in the north, while aircraft bombed at least 4 schools after ordering hundreds of families sheltering inside to leave, residents said. Gaza's health authorities said that at least 10 people were killed in attacks on Zaytun, and at least 13 were killed southwest of Gaza City. More than 80% of Gaza is now an Israeli militarized zone or under forced displacement threats, according to the UN. Oh, Brother Rick's in the house, too. Good morning. Happy Tuesday to you. The attacks come as Israeli officials, including Israel's Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, were due in Washington, D.C. for a new ceasefire push by the administration of Trumpy. Key mediator Qatar has confirmed that there are serious U.S. intentions to push for a return to negotiations, but there are complications, according to a Qatari Ministry of Foreign Affairs spokesman. The main obstacle over here is that both parties aren't coming back to the table, but as I have said, there's a momentum that's been created by the ceasefire between Iran and Israel, Majed al-Ansari told reporters in the Qatari capital Doha. We won't hold out breath for private to say we won't hold our breath. We won't hold our breath for this to happen today or tomorrow, but we believe that the elements are in place to push forward towards restarting the talks, he added. Or maybe he did mean hold out breath. Like, I don't know what good that does. Didn't do me any good. The talks in the White House are also expected to cover Iran and possibly wider regional diplomatic deals. In Israel, old baby's security cabinet was expected to convene to discuss the next steps in Gaza. The penguin. He's back to his dirty tricks. On Friday, Israel's military chief said that the present ground operation was close to having achieved its goals. And on Sunday, Bibi claimed new opportunities had opened up for recovering the captives taken by Hamas. Yes, those hostages that they keep talking about. That's why they justify murdering thousands and thousands of innocent people. And other Palestinian armed groups from Israel, 20 of whom are believed to still be alive. Palestinian and Egyptian sources with knowledge of the latest ceasefire efforts also said that mediators Qatar and Egypt have stepped up their contacts with the two sides, but that no date has been set yet for a new round of truce talks. Meanwhile, senior Hamas official Osama Hamdan said in a statement that there has been no news from Israel regarding a ceasefire for 4 weeks. We are determined to seek a ceasefire that will save our people, and we are working with mediators to open the crossing, Hamdan said. But in the meantime, murder and that fucking GHF. If I think I don't know. I've never been in that situation where I was literally starving like that, and would want to take a chance on a place that I knew for certain was going to shoot me. But apparently Israel is going to rejoin the ceasefire negotiations. Well, whether they'll actually do a ceasefire, that remains to be seen. Hey, Willie, what's up? Good to see you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Israel to rejoin Gaza ceasefire negotiations in 2 days in Cairo amid a humanitarian crisis. So this is from the New Arab. Israel is expected to send a delegation to Cairo within days to rejoin the Gaza ceasefire and hostage exchange talks with Hamas, according to Palestinian negotiators. Hamas delegates have already been in Egypt for over a week, working closely with Egyptian and Qatari mediators on a U.S. proposal that lays out a 60-day truce, which includes the release of half the surviving Israeli captives and the return of bodies of dead ones. Yikes. As well as increased humanitarian access. A Palestinian official told the Arabic news website Arabi21, if the U.S. applies significant pressure, quote, we could reach an agreement in days, unquote. The proposal was first presented by U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff on May 28th, and it includes hostage exchange and a ceasefire protocol that would only be activated if both parties comply fully with its conditions. Yippa. Good to see you. What's up, buddy? The earlier truce agreement brokered by Qatar, Egypt, and the U.S. in January collapsed in March after Israel refused to implement the second phase of a ceasefire plan and resumed its deadly bombing of the Gaza Strip, because that's what those fuckers do. That's what they do all day long. Yes, happy birthday to us. This is our 1-year anniversary here today. Oh, and CBC's birthday too? Happy birthday, CBC voter. I thought y'all were talking to us. This is our birthday too here. Not mine. Mine's in January. Anyway, Trumpy has said in recent days that a deal to end the war in Gaza may be near. On Friday, he claimed that a ceasefire could be reached within the next week. By Sunday, he wrote on his Truth Social platform, finalize the Gaza deal, bring the hostages home. But on the ground, Israeli attacks continues. Overnight into Monday, Israeli forces struck 2 schools, sheltering displaced Palestinians in Gaza City, as we told you. The schools located in Zaytun and Tufa neighborhoods had been turned into makeshift shelters amid the ongoing mass displacement across the Strip. It comes as international attention shifts back to Gaza following a 12-day military escalation between Israel and Iran. People didn't forget about Gaza during the 12-day war there. The confrontation briefly paused diplomatic activity surrounding Gaza, including ceasefire talks and discussions over the long-term future of the enclave, which has endured over 20 months of sustained Israeli bombardment. Meanwhile, Gaza faces a rapidly worsening humanitarian emergency with critically low supplies of infant formula, a collapsed water system, and disease outbreaks. According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, that's OCHA, not to be confused with OSHA, the safety people. Israel's destruction of infrastructure in Gaza has caused over 19,000 cases of acute watery diarrhea in just 2 weeks, along with hundreds of cases of jaundice and bloody diarrhea. Yikes. These outbreaks result from fuel shortages, which have rendered desalination plants and sewage systems non-operational. OCHA called for urgent deliveries of fuel, clean water, sanitation, and hygiene supplies are essential to avoid the collapse of public health. More than 56,000 Palestinians have been killed by Israel in Gaza, with over 133,000 injured, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. And of course, it's more than that. What's not being counted under the rubble. The majority are women and children. Nearly the entire population has been displaced. The UN Population Fund, or UNFPA, has warned that hundreds of newborn babies in Gaza are at risk of dying due to the complete depletion of infant formula. So, Yeah. And Israel's not going to honor this ceasefire. They've yet to honor any of these ceasefire agreements. They're going to continue to pound Gaza as long as they can. They tried to fuck around with Iran, and then they were like, "Oh, no, we're good there." Because they thought the U.S. was going to back them up. So it's like in the cartoons, you have like the little Chihuahua dog that's the little, and he's got the big bulldog behind him, right? So that little dog's not afraid of anybody. Then all of a sudden, that little dog gets up in somebody's face, and he looks behind him, and that big dog is gone. It's just him, and he's like, pound, 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 pound. You think CBC is taking attendance? Okay. I'm glad somebody can count. I sure can't. I tried not to pack this show too much today. The other day was just crazy. That was a lot of fucking stories. And we didn't even do all of them either. I had to take some of them out. It was cray, as the kids like to say. This one's a little packed, but not anything as crazy. Okay, so meanwhile, back in Israel, of course, the prison system over there is just atrocious, does not even cover it. As Hamas slams Israel over death of Palestinian detainee. The Palestinian resistance movement Hamas has slammed Israel for the death of a young Palestinian man detained by the regime's forces last year. Earlier yesterday, Palestinian authorities announced that Eloy Faisal Nasrallah, who's 22, died at Israel's Soroka hospital, where he was transferred from Negev prison. Hamas said in a statement on Telegram that he died due to the deterioration of his health as a result of torture and harsh conditions inside the prison. Hamas said Palestinians are kept in catastrophic conditions, adding that they are denied the most basic human rights, including medical care. Nasrallah was from the occupied West Bank governorate of Jenin. He had been held without charge under the notorious administrative detention since March 26, 2024. Under its policy of administrative detention, the regime holds Palestinians without trial or charge for up to 6 months. Guantanamo Bay, anybody? Up to 6 months, but it's more than that. A period which can be extended for an indefinite number of times. There we go. Some have been held in administrative detention for up to 11 years. According to his family, Nasrallah had no prior health conditions before his arrest. His death brings to 73 the number of documented Palestinian prisoners who lost their lives since the start of Israel's genocide in Gaza. The figure includes at least 45 from Gaza and 1 child. Yeah, so those prisons there, what they're doing to the Palestinians, basically what Americans were doing to the Iraqis, remember, at Abu Ghraib? Abu Ghraib, y'all remember Abu Ghraib, man? That dude with the hood, and they had him up like this, and I think they had electrodes on him or something. And then that chick was doing the fucking psycho. Who trains these people to be psychopaths like that? I know you got to be aggressive as a soldier, but my God, do you have to be evil? I don't think so. And it's been deadly for Israel too, relatively speaking, as death of 20 soldiers in Gaza marks June as Israel's deadliest month in 2025. Well, those Abu Ghraibis had Hamas. Yeah, I know, right? The death of 20 Israeli soldiers in the Gaza Strip since the beginning of June has made it the deadliest month for Israel since the start of 2025, according to Israeli media reports on Sunday. The Hebrew language daily Yedioth Aharonoth reported that despite Gaza becoming a secondary front due to Israel's war with Iran, June has seen the highest number of Israeli military casualties since January. On June 13th, Israel, with U.S. support, launched a 12-day offensive against Iran. The operation targeted military bases, nuclear facilities, civilian infrastructure, and resulted in the assassination of senior military commanders and nuclear scientists. The attack left hundreds dead or injured. In retaliation, Iran fired ballistic missiles and launched drone attacks at Israeli military and intelligence sites. Many of these strikes breached Israel's defense systems, causing unprecedented destruction, widespread panic, dozens of deaths, and thousands of injuries. See, that's the thing. When you feel like you're safe, you'd start making fun of people. You know, with those Israelis, those Israeli young people were making those videos, right? People making people with unibrows and blacking out teeth and shit. Then the boom, boom, boom starts happening to you, right? Fucking karma, brother. So many of these strikes breached the dead widespread. The newspaper stated that 15 of the 20 soldiers were killed on June 24th in battles in the city of Khan Yunis, southern Gaza. According to the report, the most recent fatality was a soldier from the 601st Combat Engineering Battalion who was killed on Sunday during fighting in northern Gaza. So how much juice do they have left in the tank? Israel, right? As long as the United States keeps feeding the meter, I guess, right? Is it really us? If the U.S. stopped feeding Israel any kind of support, would they collapse? I think they would. I don't think they have enough friends in Europe. I really don't. But you got all this going on, right? Like I said, their tourism shot. Nobody's coming to fucking Israel. They don't want to get bombed. If they want to get bombed at the bars, that's fine. But they don't want to get bombed at their hotel and get murdered. So that's gone. Businesses are fleeing. People are fleeing. You can't get the Orthodox young men to fight for you. You're losing numbers. I mean, it really is desperation that's going on over there. It's just they put on such a good front with the propaganda, right? They're like, oh no, everything's fine. Come on, we're winning this. We're pummeling them. You know, Trump's like, yeah, we blew up all this shit. You didn't blow up nothing. You didn't blow up shit. But what you did do is refueled Israeli jets throughout the Iranian war. How do you like that for a segue? This is from Dave DeCamp over at antiwar.com. Be sure to check them out. U.S. military tanker aircraft refueled Israeli jets throughout the 12-day U.S.-Israeli war against Iran to ease the burden on Israel's limited and aging fleet of tankers, Israel Hayom has reported. That's the outlet there. The report said that hundreds of aerial refuelings were conducted for Israeli fighter jets flying to Iran. During the 12 days of attacks on Iran, it was always believed that Israel wouldn't be able to launch significant airstrikes on Iran without the U.S. supporting the attacks with refueling. Just a little cuddle. We just want to cuddle. Look at that. Look at the U.S. saying, come on, suck daddy's dick. Come suck daddy's dick. There it is. Come get it. And they're like, nom noms. Nom noms. Sorry, the little blue for this early in the morning. In the first days of the 12-day war, dozens of U.S. KC-135s, KC-46s, and other tanker aircraft were spotted by flight trackers leaving the U.S. and heading east across the Atlantic Ocean. U.S. officials confirmed that the tanker deployment was related to the Middle East, and the Israel Hayom report said that some of them were used to refuel Israeli jets. Besides the refueling, the U.S. also the U.S. also supported Israel's attacks on Iran by providing intelligence, helping intercept Israeli missiles and drones, eventually launching its own airstrikes on 3 Iranian nuclear facilities using B-2 bombers, a fleet of fighter jets, and a submarine. And then they had cuddles. The cuddles was always afterwards. It's unclear how much the 12-day war cost the U.S., but it must be in the billions, as a report from Military Watch magazine estimated that the U.S. used 15 to 20% of its global THAAD anti-missile arsenal, which comes at a cost of at least 800 million smackers. The U.S. is believed to have 2 of its 7 THAAD missile defense systems stationed in Israel, along with U.S. troops to operate them, and other troops to hold their hands tight and cuddle with them and say, honey, it's gonna be all right. And then they play like the Pina Colada song or something like that. Yes, I like pina coladas. So this whole Iran doing the oh, what's his name? The guy, man. At least I got chicken. Anyway, he's like Israel says, fuck it, we're going to do whatever the fuck we want. And so Trump's trying to do some peace maybe. And then it's like, nah, he's not trying to do peace. So now Trump says U.S. not offering anything, Iran anything, after nuclear site strikes. Yeah, Leroy Jenkins. That's what it is. So Israel said, they're trying to be all like diplomatic and shit. And Israel does like a Leroy Jenkins. It doesn't, Leroy Jenkins or Benjamin Netanyahu. And they go in there and they start bombing and they get their ass handed to them. Trumpy declared yesterday that he is not in contact with Iranian officials and is not offering the country anything, rejecting reports of potential concessions following recent U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear infrastructure. Tell phony Democrat Senator Chris Coons, he just wanted to say Coons, that I'm not offering Iran anything, nor am I even talking to them since we totally obliterated their nuclear facilities. Trump posted on, that's on Truth Social, doing his Baghdad Bob with the obliterated their nuclear facilities. You kind of hurt facilities that didn't have the uranium in it, that they had already moved it. Good job. Oh, Rick, thanks, buddy. See? If you know, you know. And you know what? Rick knows. Taking a break from his job in hell. The statement comes as leaked U.S. intelligence assessments challenge Trumpy's claims. According to sources briefed on a classified report by the Defense Intelligence Agency, that's the DIA, Iranian centrifuges at the Fordow nuclear site remain mostly intact, and the country's uranium stockpile was not destroyed. The report concluded that the strikes may have delayed Iran's program by only a few months tops, to which Iran replied, and you know what, we were going to take a few months off anyway to just kind of explore ourselves before we cut a new album. We figured we owed it to the fans that, we needed to take time and just feel out what they want, because they're part of the family, bro. Wait, what? Oh, we're talking about nuclear stuff. Never mind. Israeli sources cited by ABC News described the outcome of the attack as really not good, with uncertainty over how much enriched uranium had been relocated before the operation or how many centrifuges remain usable. European officials shared similar concerns, telling the Financial Times that Iran's uranium cache had already been dispersed to other sites, not concentrated at Fordow, prior to the airstrikes. Despite Washington's claim that Fordow was completely destroyed, satellite imagery reportedly shows sealed tunnels and surface damage, but no confirmed structural collapse. The IAEA, those sweet jokers, the Director General Rafael Grossi, stated that while the program suffered enormous damage, the claim of total obliteration was overblown. Iranian officials maintain that the targeted facilities had been evacuated ahead of the strikes, Mohammed Salami, head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, said on June 24th that contingency plans were in place and efforts to resume enrichment activities were already underway. See, it's all theater, folks. And they told the U.S. in advance, we're going to be targeting that base. Get your people out. And everybody knows in advance and all this shit. And it's like, it kind of reminds me of like during like the Revolutionary War, how people would line up and then they have like their people just come out, Then they tried that shit with the natives. The natives were like, what's this lining up shit? And they're just like hiding in the trees, like shooting them with bow and arrows and stuff. They said, fuck that shit. The lining up bullshit. So I don't know, you pale face stupid. So Iran, speaking of the IAEA, the one, Doctor Everything will be all right. Iran told the IAEA to stick it where the sun don't shine. As Iran says, IAEA inspectors cannot visit its bombed nuclear sites. Stay away. As tensions grow between Iran and the United Nations nuclear watchdog, Tehran says it cannot allow IAEA inspectors to visit nuclear sites bombed by the United States and Israel during the recent war. Stay the fuck out. I just see some Iranian dude with a shotgun at this barbed wire fence. And he's wearing like this bub outfit. I told y'all stay out. He's Iranian, but he still sounds like he's country. What y'all want? I know what y'all want. Y'all want to turn around because I'm going to shoot you. How can they expect us to ensure the safety and security of the agency's inspectors when Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities were attacked a few days ago, said Foreign Ministry spokesperson Ismail Baghai. He also condemned Trumpy's remarks in which the U.S. president said Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei should be grateful that he did not order his assassination. Such worthless and insulting remarks are 100% and absolutely rejected and condemned, hurting the feelings of millions of Iranians and Muslims both inside and outside Iran, said Baghai. He added, Trump's comments would result in nothing but an increase in hatred and disgust towards U.S. policies regarding the region and Muslims. Yeah, that's kind of Trump's thing, stirring up hatred. Trump on Friday said that he expects Iran to open itself to international inspection to verify that it does not restart its nuclear program, to which Iran has said, eat all of the dicks. There's a whole bag of them right here for you. Iran has threatened to halt cooperation with the IAEA, which Tehran blames for providing a justification for Israel's bombing campaign. It began a day after the agency's board voted to declare Iran in violation of obligations under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Israel relentlessly attacked Iran from June 13th, targeting its nuclear sites, defense systems, high-ranking military officials, and atomic scientists. In 12 days of strikes, Israel said that it killed around 30 Iranian commanders and 11 nuclear scientists while hitting 8 nuclear-related facilities and more than 720 military infrastructure sites. And by military infrastructure sites, they mean people. Oh, wait, they got them too. More than 1,000 people were killed, including at least 417 civilians, according to the Washington-based human rights activist group. Iran retaliated with barrages of missiles on Israeli military sites, infrastructure, and cities, killing 28 people. U.S. stepped in on Sunday, June 22nd, hitting 3 of Iran's nuclear sites with bunker busters dropped by B-2 bombers sent in from Missouri, I believe. So they didn't stop. They flew straight from Missouri, refueled midair. So they wouldn't, so that Iran wouldn't retaliate against any of their local bases, but they did anyway. Explosives designed to penetrate deep into the ground to damage the heavily fortified targets. On Monday, Iran fired missiles at a U.S. base in Qatar in retaliation, but caused no known casualties. Yeah. So now what's going to happen with Iran and their nuclear situation? See, now they're justified. Now they're justified in saying, look, let's just make nukes, because these motherfuckers around us they're just crazy. And they're probably going to do that. They're probably going to make nukes. Sweet candy time for Grandpa. I pulled it out of my coat. Delicious. So yeah, I mean they're just going to keep pushing Iran, and Iran's just going to be like, nope. Just like what is that Godzilla meme where he's going back into the water and he's flipping up. He's just going nope, and then he just goes off, and he said he had enough. So of course they, like I said, they killed several leaders, and Iran held funeral rites for them. As state TV said, this is Iran holds funeral for top military commanders, scientists killed by Israel. So you can see the picture here. A lot of people there for that. Mourners dressed in black lined streets in Iran's capital, Tehran, at a funeral on Saturday for top military commanders, nuclear scientists, and some of the civilians killed during this month's war with Israel. At least 16 scientists and 12 senior commanders were among those mourned at the funeral, according to state media. And these are a whole bunch of names I'm going to butcher, just so you know in advance. Including Armed Forces Chief Major General Mohammad Bagheri, Revolutionary Guards Commander General Hossein Salami, and Guards Aerospace Force Chief General Amir Ali Hajizadeh. I was doing good till I got to the Hajizadehs. Their coffins were driven into Tehran's Azadi Square, adorned with their pictures as well as rose petals and flowers, as is the custom. As crowds waved Iranian flags, state-run Press TV showed an image of ballistic missiles on display. State TV said the funeral, dubbed the Funeral Procession of the Martyrs of Power, was held for a total of 60 people killed in the war, including 4 women and 4 children. Attending the funeral were President Masoud Pezeshkian and other senior figures, including Ali Shamkhani, who was seriously wounded during the conflict and is an advisor to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So, R.I.P. to the martyrs there. You know, it's always the innocent people that get it in a war. There's always those victims, man. And it's going to keep on going. That collateral damage. Wait, what the hell? Oh, I thought this was the same thing. Meanwhile, Iran, people are leaving Iran too. They're leaving Iraq, but they're also leaving Iran too. As UNICEF reports return of 5,000 unaccompanied Afghan children from Iran. The UNICEF has reported the return of 5,000 unaccompanied children from Iran to Afghanistan through the Islam Kala border. Tajuddin Oyawali, UNICEF's representative in Afghanistan, also stated that 150,000 individuals have returned via the Islam Kala crossing just this month. He said in the month of June only, 150,000 returns have been recorded across the border in Islam Kala. 25% of those are children, many of whom are families, female-headed households, and in a very, very difficult situation. For us as UNICEF, we've seen more than 5,000 separated and unaccompanied children, and that comes with all the vulnerability of exploitation, abuse, and the lives that these children could be subjected to. Together with other partners on the ground at the reception center in Islam Kala, we are providing critical vaccination services. Poverty and economic hardship, along with other factors, have pushed Afghan children and teenagers to neighboring countries, especially Iran. In Iran, these children and teenagers are often forced to work to survive far from their families. Now, among the deportees from Iran, there are children who have crossed back into Afghanistan alone via the Islam Kala border. Murtaza, one of the deportees from Iran, said, "We studied up to 6th grade here, then stopped and went to Iran. We were deported again. Our hope is that the work and economic situation improves so we can continue our education in our own country." Nazir Ahmad, another deportee, said, "During the 5 years we spent in Iran, we were harassed a lot. Along the way and in different places, they mistreated us and took extra money from us. This comes with only 7 days remaining before Iran's deadline for the departure of Afghan migrants from its territory." So, and Afghanistan is in no better shape themselves. So, horrible situation over there in the Middle East, right? And the United States is not helping anything. So we're stirring the shit. We could shut this shit down. If the United States really wanted to, they could shut this shit down. But we know they don't want to. You know it. I know it. This delicious Starlight Mint that I'm eating knows it too. Oh yeah. So speaking of Iraq, the PKK, there is the disarmament process to begin early this month. So militants from the PKK will begin laying down their weapons at a disarmament ceremony in Iraqi Kurdistan early this month. The Kurdish media outlet Ruda reported yesterday. The move comes just 6 weeks after the Kurdish Workers' Party, the PKK as they're known as, announced it was ending more than 4 decades of guerrilla warfare in a conflict that claimed over 40,000 lives. Turkey's Kurdish minority is hoping the PKK's decision will pave the way for a political settlement with Ankara that will herald a new openness to the Kurds, who make up about 20% of Turkey's population at 85 million. Citing 2 sources in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, Ruda said the move would be both a trust-building step and a goodwill gesture to advance the reconciliation process with Turkey. According to sources, the ceremony would take place in Sulaymaniyah, Iraqi Kurdistan's second biggest city. Most of PKK's fighters have spent the past decade in the mountains of northern Iraq, where Turkey also maintains military bases and has carried out frequent operations against Kurdish fighters. Between July 3rd and July 10th, a group of PKK members, probably numbering between 20 and 30, will lay down their weapons in a ceremony to be held in Sulaymaniyah, in Sulaymaniyah, Ruda said. So the sources said jailed PKK founder Abdullah Öcalan was expected to issue a new message regarding the resolution process in the next few days. After that, the disarmament process will officially begin, they said. The PKK decision was in response to a call in February by Öcalan, who had been serving life on a prison island off Istanbul since 1999. Yikes. Not only is it a Turkish prison, it's an island prison. Well, you don't want those. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said he would, in the coming days, meet a delegation from the pro-Kurdish Dem Party, which has played a key role in shuttling messages between Öcalan and Ankara. Quoting one of the sources, Ruda said that after laying down their weapons, the militants would then return to their bases unarmed, denying reports they would be held in certain cities in the Kurdistan region of Iraq, which is probably what's going to happen. The guerrillas will return to their bases after disarming. It is out of the question for them to go to any city, the source said. Until now, there had been little detail about how the dissolution mechanism would work. But the Turkish government has said it would carefully monitor the process to ensure full implementation. So, and the Kurds have been a thorn in the side for Turkey for quite some time. I remember that during the Gulf War, right? They were trying to stake their land up there. Speaking of land getting, Russia has full control over Lugansk Republic, according to the governor there. Look at him. He's like, I'm not proud of this haircut. I have better barbers in Russia. Come on. Or wherever that is. The Russian military is taking control of the entirety of the Lugansk People's Republic, the LPR. Local Governor Leonid Paseknik announced on Monday. The governor made the remarks while speaking live on Russia's Channel 1. Just 2 days ago, a report came in that the territory of the Luhansk People's Republic had been fully liberated, 100%, the governor stated. The Russian Defense Ministry has made no official announcement on the LPR governor's claim. The Russian military liberated the two largest cities in the region controlled by Ukraine, Severodonetsk and Lysychansk, during the summer offensive of 2022. Shortly after it gained control of their hinterlands, and folks, you really do want to get control of your hinterlands, because if you don't, bad things happen. With the front line largely remaining static in the LPR since then. Yipper, that means you and your hinterlands. You know what I'm saying. Kiev's military had retained control over some 100 square kilometers in the northwest of LPR, including a patch of land to the north of the town of Makivka, dotted by a handful of villages now abandoned and destroyed. Kiev has also long held the Sebrianskoye forestry. Sebrianskoye forestry. Ooh, a wooded area in to the north of the Seversky Donets River, which separates the LPR from its sister republic of Donetsk. The forestry has long seen fierce trench warfare, with either side of the conflict unable to make any tangible gains in the area for months. And that's it. So, yeah. I don't really do much of the Russia-Ukraine land grabbing thing. They grabbed this territory. They did this. Because it's always just kind of back and forth. But I thought that was kind of, I don't know, significant, I guess. Maybe not. Who knows? Meanwhile, Syria turning that radio station to WHEW as Trumpy signs executive order to terminate Syria Sanctions. That's according to the White House. Trumpy, oh Trumpy. Where's Stephanie? I have to do my Eddie Vedder voice today. Hey, hey, I'm going hungry. I don't mind stealing bread from the mouth of decadence. That's actually not a bad song. U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order Monday to terminate the U.S. sanctions program on Syria, according to the White House. The U.S. is committed to supporting a Syria that is stable, unified, and at peace with itself and its neighbors, Trump said in the order posted by the official rapid response account of the Trump 47 White House on the tweeters. A united Syria that does not offer a safe haven for terrorist organizations and ensures the security of its religious and ethnic minorities will support regional security and prosperity, he added. I don't say it in Trump's voice when I know Trump didn't write that shit, because this shit's too eloquent. He's like, man, cheeseburgers and stuff. Boom, boom, boom. Let's blow them up. That's Trump. Cheeseburgers and stuff. Let's go blow them up. Boom, boom, boom. That's Trump. That's when, like, people in other countries try to describe Trump to their relatives, but they have very limited time. They go, I like cheeseburgers. Blow up. Boom, boom, boom. Earlier in the day, White House press secretary And former Cracked magazine cover model Carolyn Levitt told reporters that the move aims to support Syria's path to stability and peace. Bull's beauty sexing shit up. You know what Daddy likes? Daddy likes to sex shit up. You stop it. The order, wait a minute. The order will remove sanctions on Syria while maintaining sanctions on the former President Assad, his associates, human rights abusers, drug traffickers, persons linked to chemical weapons activities, ISIS and their affiliates, and Iranian proxies, she said. I'm not doing that voice again. This is again an action that the president promised and shocked the world with in Saudi Arabia because he's committed to supporting a Syria that is stable, unified, and at peace with itself and its neighbors, she added, and potentially profitable. Last month, Trump announced at an investment forum in Riyadh that he would lift the brutal and crippling sanctions on Syria. A day later, he held a landmark meeting with Syrian President Ahmad al-Sharaa in Saudi Arabia, the first meeting between the U.S. and Syrian leaders in 25 years. Bashar al-Assad, who ruled Syria for nearly a quarter century, fled to Russia on December 8th last year, marking the end of the Ba'ath Party's decades-long rule, which began in 1963. Al-Sharaa, who led anti-regime forces that ousted Assad, was declared president for a transitional period in late January, but then took over because the band couldn't find a good lead singer better than him. And they really liked his range. They thought he could really hit those high notes good. Wait, what? That's totally something else. So Syria getting a lift. So, you know, the CIA had something to do with them ousting Assad. Whoa, ho, ho. Whoa, we got some sparklies going on here. I have this, this is interesting. I have this thing here that, hang on a second. It's a plug-in that's supposed to turn the screen dark. We'll see. So if you have flash issues, I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do about it. Maybe there is. I don't know. We'll see. Why is it doing that? That is weird. That is so weird. Hang on just a second, folks. Let me just try something here real quick. Maybe if I just turn that off. Let's just turn that off. All right, I'll have to blind you with some science. All right, there we go. All right, so you know everybody talks about like in Senate and in the House is like, man, we gotta get that budget down, that deficit. Well, they don't really know how shit works. How the deficit is actually a good thing when you're spending it on the right shit, right? But when you're spending it on the wrong shit, that doesn't seem to be a bother either. As long as you're already elected, that's all that matters. As a U.S. Senate budget plan adds $3.3 trillion to the deficit, cuts health care. Hey, wait a second. Why I oughta... The Senate's version of the budget reconciliation bill is under growing scrutiny after the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, projected it would add nearly $3.3 trillion to federal deficits over the next decade, substantially more than the $2.8 trillion deficit increase estimated for the House-passed version in May. The projection has intensified partisan debate in Washington, while the White House maintains that the legislation would ultimately reduce deficits. Eventually, that claim contrasts with the CBO analysis and other independent forecasts. Hey, how about that? The Republican forecast is different from the actual shit. How about that? Stephanie Strauss. Damn it, I fucked it up. Stephanie spoke in class today. Good to see you, Stephanie. Sorry. I'll try better next time. Yeah, so Republican lawmakers have challenged the CBO's assumptions, asserting that the long-term fiscal impact may be overstated. Despite the disputes, the new figures suggest the Senate's approach would have a broader fiscal footprint, further complicating efforts to reconcile the two versions of the bill. Beyond its fiscal implications, the Senate bill also proposes major changes to Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. According to the CBO, these adjustments would result in nearly 12 million more uninsured Americans by 2034, exceeding the 10.8 million additional uninsured projected under the House's version of the legislation. The sharp difference in projected health coverage outcomes underscores the stakes of the ongoing negotiations as lawmakers face mounting pressure to address both the federal deficit and the healthcare needs of millions. And then this is some Musk shit. So, you know, fuck that. The CBO previously estimated that the House version of the bill would add trillions to the federal debt, eliminate health care for nearly 11 million people, and remove food assistance for at least 3 million. The Senate version is expected to make even deeper reductions, though the CBO has not yet released a full analysis. According to the CBO, under the House plan, the wealthiest Americans would see an average tax cut of about $1,200, while the poorest would lose around $1,600 in benefits. Democrats have uniformly opposed the measure. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer demanded that the full text be read aloud before debate, accusing Republicans of rushing through. See, he calls for them to read the bill, but he knows they're not going to read the bill. He knows they're not. It's like a false call out. He's like, come on and read the bill. See, they're not going to read the bill. And then people are still going to be like, oh, well, what did that do? Trump continues to press for quick passage of the bill ahead of the July 4th deadline. That's Friday. Although reports suggest he may be sending mixed signals privately. Meanwhile, the internal GOP divisions and public rebukes, including Elon Musk's criticism of the Trump spending bills, signal a rocky path ahead for the legislation. And coming up in the Propaganda Watch later, I saw this on Kevin's show, Black Bear News, yesterday, and I said I got to share this with the peeps. It's a little long, but it's totally worth it. It's State Senator Mallory McMorrow perfectly explaining the big, beautiful bill. So, but we'll have that later in our Propaganda Watch. So don't you go anywhere, Mr. or Mrs. Man. Okay. Are you going to behave yourself now? I really hate it when tech poops on your head. No. Not what we wanted. Are you going to work? All right, maybe. Yeah, you'll work because of the lizard guy. So if that's not bad enough, Rick Scott and his lizard ass head has to get into the mix. Wait a minute, where are we? Is that us here? As Rick Scott pushes amendment to GOP budget bill that could kick millions more off Medicaid. He said, that's not enough. It's not enough. Senator Rick Scott, the lizard man himself. Look at him. He's slithering around Slytherin, looking for Harry Potter. Senator Rick Scott has introduced an amendment to the Republican budget bill that would slash another $313 million from Medicaid and kick off millions more recipients. That means more mice for him to eat. The latest analysis by the CBO found that 17 million people could lose their health insurance by 2034 as the result of the bill, as it already exists. According to the preliminary estimate by the Democrats on the Joint Congressional Economic Committee, that number could balloon up to anywhere from 20 to 29 million if Scott's amendment passes. If you don't know who Rick Scott is, he's out of Florida, Republican. The amendment will be voted on as part of the Senate's vote-a-rama, which is expected to run deep into the night and possibly into today. If Senator Rick Scott's amendment gets put forward, this would be a self-inflicted healthcare crisis, said Tara Hoops, Director of Economic Analysis at Chamber of Progress. He looks like a used condom I see on the streets. Yippa! You're utterly delicious. The existing GOP reconciliation package contains onerous new restrictions, including new work requirements and administrative hurdles that will make it harder for poor recipients to claim Medicaid benefits. Scott's amendment targets funding for the program by ending the federal government's 90% cost sharing for recipients who join Medicaid after 2030. Those who enroll after that date would have their medical care reimbursed by the federal government at a lower rate of 50%. Oh. The Affordable Care Act introduced the increased rate in 2010 to incentivize states to expand Medicaid, allowing more people to be covered. Let me see how that went. Scott has said his program would grandfather in those who had already been receiving the 90% reimbursement rate. However, Medicaid is run through the states, which will have to spend more money to keep covering those who need the program after 2030. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities estimated that this provision would shift an additional $93 billion in federal Medicaid funding to states from 2031 through 2034 on top of the cuts already in the Senate bill. This will almost certainly result in states having to cut back by introducing their stricter requirements or paperwork hurdles. Additionally, 9 states have trigger laws that are set to end the program immediately if the federal matching rate is reduced. And those states are Arizona, Arkansas, Illinois, Indiana, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Utah, and Virginia. What's up, CJ? Good morning, good afternoon, whatever the case may be in your neck of the woods. The Joint Congressional Economic Committee estimated yesterday or today, or Tuesday, well, today is Tuesday, that around 2.5 million more people will lose their insurance as a result of those cuts. If all the states with statutory Medicaid expansion ended it as a result of Scott's cuts, as many as 12.5 million could lose their insurance. Combined with the rest of the bill, that's potentially 29 million people losing health insurance coverage, the committee said. There are enough Republicans in the Senate to pass the bill with Scott's amendment. However, they can afford no more than 3 defections. According to Politico, Senators Rand Paul and Tom Tillis have signaled they will vote against the amendment. Senator Jim Justice also said he'd have a hard time voting yes on the bill if Scott's amendment passed. His state of West Virginia has the second highest rate of people using federal medical assistance of any state in the country, behind only the good old Magnolia State, Mississippi. See, that's the thing. We need people in like West Virginia and Mississippi vote for people in the federal, on the federal level that can affect their well-being like that. And then they get told all this bullshit by these people like, yeah, you need to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and they vote for these people. Because they fool them into thinking that they're on their side, and they're not on their side. Critics have called out Scott for lying to justify this line of cuts. In a recent Fox News appearance, Scott claimed that his new restrictions were necessary to stop Democrats who want to give illegal aliens Medicaid benefits, even though they are not eligible for the program. Scott's proposal has also brought renewed scrutiny to his past as a healthcare executive. Ironically enough, some of the claims against Scott's old hospital company revolved around exploiting Medicaid and billing for services that patients didn't need, wrote Andrew Perez in Rolling Stone on Monday. In 2000, Scott's hospital company HCA was forced to pay $840 million in fines, yikes, penalties, and damages to resolve claims for unlawful billing practices in what was called the largest government fraud settlement ever. Among the charges were that during Scott's tenure, the company overbilled Medicare and Medicaid by pretending patients were sicker than they actually were. The company entered an additional settlement in 2003, paying out another $631 million to compensate for the money stolen from these and other government programs. Scott himself was never criminally charged, of course, because it's fucking Florida. The wild, wild East. But resigned in 1997 as the Department of Justice began to probe his company's activities. Despite the scandal, Scott not only became a U.S. Senator, but is the wealthiest man in Congress with a net worth of more than $500 million. The irony of this was not lost on Perez, who wrote, a few decades later, Scott is now trying to extract a huge amount of money from state Medicaid funds to help finance Trump's latest round of tax cuts for the rich. The Lizard Man, everybody. He's coming to eat your eggs whole. I don't know. Or eat your asshole. I don't know. One of the two. He's eating something. Bulla, I'm 90 miles north of you. I can see you from my... Oh, CJ, you're up there? Are you up there in Wisconsin or up here in Minnesota? Are you up there? Or are you up in there? Are you on the peninsula? You up there in Michigan? You crazy broad. All right, so what's next here? We got, oh yeah. We're almost done with the news. This is going to be a shorter show. A little like we've been in the pool too long. You know what I mean? That kind of short. So, Trump's not done fucking with Los Angeles, apparently, as Trump administration sues Sanctuary City, Los Angeles. Because that's what he likes. Trump ramped up its immigration crackdown in L.A. on Monday, filing a lawsuit against its Sanctuary City policies for undocumented migrants. Oh, Michigan. The move comes 3 weeks after the Republicans sent the National Guard to the Democratic-run California city to quell protests against roundups of migrants by federal agents. California Governor Gavin Newsom has said that thousands of troops were not necessary to address the mostly peaceful protests, but his legal efforts to have them removed have failed so far. Los Angeles is one of a number of U.S. sanctuary cities that prohibit local police from arresting people based on their immigration status and limit what information can be shared with federal authorities. That has brought it in a direct confrontation with Trumpy, who assailed undocumented migrants on the campaign trail, likening them to animals and monsters, and projecting much, and promised to launch the biggest deportation drive in U.S. history. Wisconsin? Okay. I've been to the Dells in Wisconsin. I like the squeaky cheese up there. Oh, you're trolling? Okay, that's fine. Under Trump, the Justice Department has sued Chicago and several other Democratic-run cities with sanctuary policies. In a statement, the department said it had filed suit against the city of Los Angeles, Mayor Karen Bass, and the Los Angeles City Council over policies that interfere with the federal government's enforcement of its immigration laws. Attorney General Pam Bondi said sanctuary policies are illegal under federal law and contributed to the recent lawlessness, rioting, looting, and vandalism in the country's second largest city, to which, of course, they have no evidence of. Sanctuary policies were the driving cause of the violence, chaos, and attacks on law enforcement that Americans recently witnessed in Los Angeles, Bondi alleged, a claim denied by the California authorities. U.S. Attorney Bill Asaili said the lawsuit holds the city of Los Angeles accountable for deliberately obstructing the enforcement of federal immigration law. By assisting removable aliens in evading federal law enforcement, the city's unlawful and discriminatory ordinance has contributed to a lawless and unsafe environment that this lawsuit will help end, Asaley added. In the lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California, the Justice Department said federal government efforts to address an immigration crisis were being hindered by sanctuary cities such as the city of L.A. Boo! Hiss. I said hiss. So now it's lawsuits. So Trumpy gets sued. Trumpy sues people. It's a whole deal, man. It's a whole fucking deal. Two more. So apparently there was some caterwonky shit going on between Canada and Trump regarding digital services. Giggity. Hang on just a second. Let me okay. So Canada rescinds digital services tax after Trump suspends trade talks. Wait, what? What's going on here? Canada has rescinded its digital services tax in a bid to advance trade negotiations with the U.S. days after Trumpy called off talks in retaliation for the levy. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, in a statement on Sunday, said he and Trump have now agreed to resume trade negotiations. Today's announcement will support a resumption of negotiations toward the July 21st timeline set out at this month's G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis. The Canadian levy on technology firms had been set to go into effect on Monday. Trump said on Friday that the tax targeting our American technology companies was a direct and blatant attack on our country. Oh my God, these people. The U.S. is home to some of the world's biggest technology companies, including Apple, Alphabet / Google, Amazon, and Meta. Canadian tech journalist Paris Marks told Al Jazeera that Carney's decision to drop the levy shows Trump that Canada can be pushed around. We're just as good as any other country. Multinational tech companies do not pay their fair share of tax in Canada, and the digital services tax is designed to address that, said Marks, who hosts the Tech Won't Save Us podcast. It has been continually delayed for years in the hope that a diplomatic process in the OECD, yeah, you know me, would create an international framework to ensure those companies pay more tax in countries around the world. But the U.S., under Biden and Trump, has ensured it's been unable to move forward, he said. More countries are enacting digital services taxes for that very reason, and Canada is wrong to back down, he added. Canada's planned digital tax was 3% of the digital services revenue a firm takes in from Canadian users above $20 million in a calendar year, and payments were to be retroactive to 2022. The levy was to apply to online marketplaces, social media platforms, digital advertising, and the sale or licensing of user data. Canada's finance minister said the collection of the tax will be halted and that finance minister François-Philippe Champagne will bring forward legislation to rescind the Digital Services Tax, or the DST Act. The DST was announced in 2020 to address the fact that many large technology companies operating in Canada may not otherwise pay tax on revenues generated from Canadians. The statement said Canada's preference has always been a multilateral agreement related to digital services taxation. Canada is the second largest U.S. trading partner after Mexico and the largest buyer of U.S. exports. It bought $349.4 billion of U.S. goods last year and exported $412.7 billion to the U.S., according to the U.S. Census Bureau data. Canada had escaped Trump's broad tariffs imposed in April, but faces 50% duties on steel and aluminum. No one escapes the gulag. Nobody. Finally, those temperatures. It's July 1st. We're all up in that summertime. The heat is on, as Glenn Fry would say in every summer commercial you've ever heard. We talked about here in the U.S. how it was scorching in the Midwest and on the East Coast. And well, now Southern Europe's getting a taste of that old Southern Europe fried goodness. Ha, ha, ha. Southern Europe roasts as temperatures soar. I like her dress. That's nice. I like that color. French authorities put Paris on red alert. I can't do it. It's too high. For extreme heat, and Spain and Portugal reported record temperatures as a heat wave gripped southern Europe and Britain on Monday, triggering health warnings and fueling wildfires. The summer's first major heat wave has scorched countries along the northern coast of the Mediterranean, and the sea itself hit a record temperature for the month of June, meteorologists said. France's National Weather Agency placed Paris and 15 other departments on its highest weather alert for Tuesday, with temperatures of up to 41 degrees Celsius. That's 105.8 degrees Fahrenheit predicted. Ambulances stood ready near tourist hotspots. I see what you did there. The news. As experts warn that such heat waves intensified by climate change would become more frequent. In Turkey, rescuers evacuated more than 50,000 people threatened by a string of wildfires. Most were from the western province of Izmir, where winds of 120 kilometers or 75 miles per hour, that's hurricane force, fanned the blazes. Firefighters also continued to battle blazes that broke out on Sunday in Italy, fed by the heat and whipped up by strong winds. Cities are offering different ways to stay cool, from free swimming pools in Marseille and parks open until 11 p.m. in Bordeaux, to free guided tours for the elderly in Venice's air-conditioned museums. And that's the thing in New York, too. Whenever it gets hot, everybody heads for the museums, baby. Hell yeah, nice and cool in there. Temperatures in southern Spain soared to 46 degrees Celsius on Saturday, a new record for June. The National Weather Agency said the Mediterranean Sea itself was warmer than usual, recording a new June high of 26.01 degrees Celsius on Sunday. According to French Weather Service scientist Thibaut Guinaldo, citing data from the EU monitor Copernicus. Agatha Lacombe, a tourist from Strasbourg visiting Madrid with her family, called the heat wave a bit difficult. You have to adapt your whole day's planning, do everything in the morning, and come home at the hottest times to find a bit of cool, she told AFP. Her daughter-in-law, Valentine Young, said they had not anticipated the heat. It's a good thing we've got air conditioning in our accommodation. We didn't think of that when we booked, she said. Portugal's National Meteorological Agency, I can never say that word, said on Monday that the temperature had reached 46.6 degrees Celsius in Mora on Sunday, which experts cited by local media said was a new June record. 7 regions in central and southern Portugal, including the capital Lisbon, were placed on red alert for the second day running on Monday, with fire warnings in many forested areas. In Italy, images posted by local media showed people running into the sea at a beach resort in Baia Domizia near Naples as flames tore through pine woods behind them. Jesus Christ, that's what happened with L.A. No, in Hawaii. And people ran into the water. I've never experienced anything like this. We were surrounded by flames at least 30 meters high. Yeeks. Smoke everywhere, the mayor of nearby Salole, Guido de Leon, wrote on Facebook. In France, the heat wave is due to peak today and tomorrow, when about 200 public schools plan to close partially or completely. No such luck for Italy, where the sizzling temperatures will continue to the end of the week and beyond, according to Antonio Spano, founder of the ilmeteo.it meteorological website. Authorities have issued red alerts for 18 cities across the country over the next few days, including Rome, Milan, Verona, Perugia, and Palermo. Italy's opposition parties urged the government on Monday to improve conditions in the country's stifling prisons, which are notoriously overcrowded. Scientists say climate change is stoking hotter and more intense heat waves, particularly in cities where the so-called urban heat island effect amplifies temperatures among tightly packed buildings. It has been particularly bad in Florence and Bologna, which have seen incessant highs every day for the whole week, Spano told AFP. In Croatia, the vast majority of the coastline was on red alert, while an extreme temperature alert was issued for Montenegro. And with little relief in sight, the meteorological service in Serbia warned that severe and extreme drought conditions prevail in much of the country. In Madrid, where temperatures approached 40 degrees Celsius, 32-year-old photographer Diego Radames told AFP TV that he found the June heat not normal. As the years go by, I have the feeling that Madrid is getting hotter and hotter, especially in the city center. With temperatures set to rise as high as 34 degrees in London and elsewhere, that's Celsius. In southwest England, Britain's Met Office weather service upped the number of amber heat alerts on Monday to 7 regions as the Wimbledon tennis tournament was getting underway. We'll have more about Wimbledon and the protests there later. It was provisionally the hottest start to Wimbledon on record. The BBC said temperatures at the All England Club had reached 34.4 degrees Celsius by 3 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, surpassing the previous record for the start of the tournament at 29.3 degrees Celsius in 2001. Wimbledon, when it's really hot, is quite sweaty. Last time we were very hot, so this time we've got rose wine in a cooler so we can do a better job, Londoner Sean Tipper told AFP. Yeah, because booze is going to cool you off, and it's going to dehydrate you, and they're going to be carting you out on some shit. Smoke on the water, a fire in the sky. Fancy pants, what? Yeah. So that's all the news that's fit to print. Brought to you by Eat This. That's all I got. Trump can't get enough of Harvard. He's going after their federal funding. Oh, Trumpy, what have you done, buddy?
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media true without checking facts first. Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
All right, so Trump administration threatens to cancel all of Harvard University's federal funding. I'm surprised they haven't done this earlier. A Trump administration probe, giggity, accused Harvard University on Monday of violating Jewish and Israeli students' civil rights. Here we go. Gray Walker, what's up? Just drop by to wave and say hi. Well, thank you. And hit a like. Thank you for that, too. You are so kind. I hope you have a lovely day. Officials from the Joint Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism wrote in a letter to Harvard's president, Alan Garber, that the university violated the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Here we go. The Civil Rights Act prohibits federal funding to programs or activities that discriminate based on race, color, or national origin. The letter says Harvard has been, in some cases, deliberately indifferent, and in others has been a willful participant in anti-Semitic harassment of Jewish students, faculty, and staff. There we go. It also said that failure to institute adequate changes immediately will result in the loss of all federal financial resources and continue to affect Harvard's relationship with the federal government. So basically saying failure to institute adequate changes immediately. It's like, hey, you don't tamp down on these protests there. Take that money. We're going to take that fucking money. All right? We'll take your fucking money. The letter comes amidst frayed relations between Harvard and the federal government, including the freezing of $2.3 billion of Harvard's federal funds in April. These funds represented a portion of the nearly $9 billion in federal grants and contracts to Harvard that the Trump administration is reviewing. Harvard University was hit with a $2.3 billion federal funding freeze after the Ivy League institution took a stand against the Trump administration's ongoing demands. Yeah, that's basically what it is. He defied Trump. They defied Trump, and you get Trump's bullshit. The freeze, representing 35.9% of Harvard's $6.4 billion operating expenses, immediately followed a letter in April from Harvard University lawyers to the Trump administration stating that it rejected the government's demands. The letter, issued by Emmanuel Urquhart and Sullivan and LLP King and Spalding LLP, said that the university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights. Harvard President Garber also issued a public letter soon after saying the university refused to capitulate to the Trump administration's demands to control the Harvard community and threaten its values as a private institution devoted to the pursuit, production, and dissemination of knowledge. Harvard rejected the government's demands, including reporting foreign students for code violations, reforming its governance and leadership, discontinuing its diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, the old DEI programs, and changing its hiring and admission policies, especially for international students. The university also initiated a lawsuit against the Trump administration in April and expanded that lawsuit in March. That should be the other way around. Challenging the administration's moves to cut off billions of dollars in federal funding to the Ivy League school. Harvard's anti-Semitism allegations have primarily surrounded student protests against Israel's war in Gaza. More than 56,000 Palestinians have been killed. As well as we know, it's a lot more than that. The Trump administration's letter said Harvard's pro-Palestine student encampment, one of the 5 in the Boston area, instilled fear in and disrupted the studies of Jewish and Israeli students. However, some Jewish students participated in and held Shabbat services at the encampment. Oh, why weren't they scared? Harvard has previously attempted to address accusations of anti-Semitism by adopting a controversial definition of anti-Semitism that includes Zionism as a protected class, and by reportedly dismissing faculty leaders at the university's Center for Middle Eastern Studies. Harvard also suspended the student group Palestine Solidarity Committee in April. According to Palestine Legal, an organization that provides legal aid to pro-Palestine activists, these actions represent extreme censorship of pro-Palestinian speech, which is not required by federal civil rights law and actually risks violating the civil rights of Palestinian and associated students. So he's still going after Harvard. But Harvard's hanging in so far. So far. Meanwhile, the UK withheld evidence from court in Israel arms export case. So this is an ongoing thing in Israel about their export cases. Let's see if we can make this a little bigger. I guess not. Nope, that's all you get. So this is Declassified UK. If you check them out online, they do good investigative work. Judges ruled that Britain's decision to allow F-35 fighter jet parts to be sent to Israel was lawful, despite concerns about violations of international humanitarian law. The 72-page ruling came in response to a landmark legal challenge brought by Palestinian human rights group Al-Haq with support from the Global Legal Action Network, Oxfam, Amnesty, and Human Rights Watch. The claimants argued in court that Britain's provision of fighter jet components to global pools, which supply Israel, was in breach of its international and domestic legal obligations. The UK government's lawyers said the F-35 program was of vital importance to national security. National security. Make a drinking game with national security. And it would constitute a threat to international peace should Britain withdraw from it. While Israel's conduct in Gaza could, in principle, satisfy the physical component of genocide, the lawyers accepted in court it was unknowable whether these actions are motivated by genocidal intent. Why the fuck? Genocide is genocide. You're trying to get rid of people. What does it matter why? You're trying to erase people. Genocidal statements by Israeli ministers were dismissed as broadly irrelevant, while assurances of commitment to international humanitarian law, IHL, were treated as reliable. Israel's National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich were deemed to have limited influence over Benjamin Netanyahu's government, though they have since been sanctioned by Britain for repeated incitements of violence against Palestinian communities. High Court judges Lord Justice Mayles and Mrs. Justice Stein found in favor. That's some interesting. It found in favor of the government, saying the courts should not intervene in a sensitive political issue that was best left to ministers and parliament. The spokesperson for Amnesty UK responded, despite overwhelming evidence they risk fueling genocide in Gaza, the High Court says it can't intervene in the government's decision to keep supplying F-35 fighter jets parts to Israel. The judgment doesn't change the facts on the ground or the UK's duty to help prevent genocide. The government must end all arms transfers to Israel immediately. At a hearing earlier this year attended by Declassified, one of the government's lawyers declared, "This is not our war." This meant, he argued, that the UK government could only know whether Israeli troops are committing war crimes in Gaza if they had access to Israeli intelligence about each operation. If Israel doesn't hand over the information, the UK government effectively presumes innocence. They didn't give us the information, so I don't know stuff. This is despite the British military having compiled its own unique archive of the conflict. The Royal Air Force, the RAF, has been sending spy flights over Gaza to gather intelligence for Israel since December 2023, collecting thousands of hours of footage of events on the ground. Remarkably, the Foreign Office team, which reviews Israel's compliance with international humanitarian law, known as the IHL CAP cell, has seemingly not reviewed or even requested the RAF spy footage. In December last year, the Foreign Office's Director for Defense and International Security, Stephen Lilly, told a parliamentary committee, "To the best of my knowledge, we have not asked for that information from RAF flights." I don't know if that's his accent, but we're going with it. Last month, Zara Sultana MP asked the Foreign Office once again whether the IHL CAP cell has requested access to the surveillance footage. Foreign Minister Hamish Falconer dodged the question. I've read that name before, indicating that his department is still ignoring the government's own evidence of Israeli atrocities. Our IHL assessments include information from a wide range of sources, including the UN, non-governmental organizations, that would be NGOs, media, and organizations on the ground, Falconer said, making no reference to spy flights. The Minister of Defense, moreover, is refusing to disclose to Parliament how the footage is stored and whether any of it has been deleted, destroyed, or lost. A spokesperson for the department said earlier this month, "I cannot comment on detailed intelligence matters nor disclose details of MOD internal policies for the storage and retention of operational intelligence. How dare you? Niles!" Instead of using the RAF surveillance footage, the Foreign Office contracted a third-party organization named the Center for Information Resilience, or CER, to provide analysis on Israel's war conduct in Gaza. The government's lawyers argued in court that this was necessary because of the lack of access to information on the ground in Gaza, gliding over the issue of spy flights. See, gliding. See, you get that? Gliding. Access to Gaza remains significantly restricted. The ongoing conduct of hostilities makes verification of information in a timely manner particularly challenging, they said. Since January last year, the Foreign Office has paid 715 British pounds to CIR for work on the Middle East. This involves producing incident reports on possible human rights violations in Gaza, which are then fed into the Foreign Office's IHL CAP cell. CIR claims it is an independent nonprofit social enterprise dedicated to countering disinformation and exposing human rights abuses. The High Court judges also accepted that CIR is an independent organization, but the organization's main funders include the UK, the US, and Australian governments, and its co-founders, Ross Burley, and Adam Rutland, are closely linked to the Foreign Office. Burley was a press officer at the British Embassy in Tel Aviv between 2012 and 2014. He has also served in London and Washington and led several of the UK government's counter-disinformation programs between 2017 and 2020. Rutland worked for 14 years in the Foreign Office, including in its Communications and Engagement Department and as a diplomat in Jakarta, Indonesia. A spokesperson for CIR told Declassified, CIR is an independent nonprofit organization that uses open source methods to collect, verify, and investigate human rights abuses and potential violations of international law. Our work is impartial, transparent, and guided solely by rigorous methodology, which is outlined in detail on our website. Using data from CIR and elsewhere, the Foreign Office's IHL cell reviewed over 400 incidents in Gaza, but found only one attack to be a possible breach of IHL by Israel. That was Israel's airstrike on a World Central Kitchen, WCK, convoy, which killed 7 international aid workers, including 3 Britons. The other 412 incidents were judged to be inconclusive. As such, the Foreign Office has still not decided whether Israel is committed to complying with IHL in its general war conduct. We have not been able to reach a determination in relation to the conduct of hostilities due to the lack of sufficient verifiable evidence, Falconer told Parliament earlier this month, last month. But according to Glan, the Foreign Office's methodology is fundamentally flawed because it operates on an incident-by-incident basis rather than looking at overall patterns. Those patterns would include repeated attacks on hospitals and objects indispensable to the survival of the population, the repeated mass population transfer orders issued by Israel, and the sheer scale of destruction in Gaza. Remarkably, the UK government also refused to submit one of CIR's research reports on long-range shootings or shootings of minors, that's MINORS, to the court despite a duty to disclose and an explicit request made for its disclosure. The UK government is refusing to explain why the report was withheld, and it won't publish it. CIR spokesperson did not clarify whether the organization was planning to publish a report or share it with Declassified. They said the body of evidence that they have collated is an invaluable resource for justice and accountability mechanisms. CIR does not provide legal advice or make legal determinations on the status of those events under international law. Given the significant reporting restrictions and access challenges in this conflict, open source investigation is essential for independent monitoring and tracking of events. CIR has also supported international media outlets by assisting with the verification of incidents, contributing to wider efforts to investigate allegations of potential war crimes. So I love Declassified UK because they are always on top of this UK bullshit, especially them sending F-35 parts and the UK saying, no, we suspended those. Just like you suspended like 30 out of 400 and something. So good work to those guys. So Palestine Action are staying in the UK to challenge the UK ban against them. UK campaign group Palestine Action on Monday said it would challenge its planned prescription as a terrorist group, as the British government said it could be banned by the end of the week. assuming this week. The government announced last week plans to designate the pro-Palestine group as a terrorist organization after its activists broke into a British Air Force base and vandalized 2 planes. The group, which has condemned the move as an attack on free speech, said an urgent hearing to challenge the proscription will be held at the High Court in London on Friday. The challenge was backed by Amnesty International and other rights groups. Huda Amori, co-founder of Palestine Action, said in a statement the proposed ban would have far-reaching implications on fundamental freedoms of speech, expression, and assembly in Britain. After announcing the measure last week, Home Secretary Yvette Cooper launched the process to ban the group on Monday in Parliament. The ban is set to be debated in Parliament tomorrow and Thursday and could take effect from Friday. Labor holds a massive majority in the House of Commons, meaning the proposal should pass easily. Palestine Action said it was seeking an injunction or interim relief from the courts because of the Home Secretary's decision to try to steamroll this through Parliament. Earlier this month, 2 of its activists broke into the RAF Bryce Norton base in southern England and sprayed two planes with red paint. Ooh, such evil people. Cooper last week said the vandalism was the latest in a long history of unacceptable criminal damage committed by the group since it formed in 2020. The government cites previous damage claimed by the group in actions at a Thales defense factory in Glasgow in 2022 and on Israeli defense tech firm Elbit Systems UK last year in Bristol in the country's southwest. Such acts do not represent legitimate acts of protest, and the level of seriousness of Palestine Action's activity has met the test for prescription under the Terrorism Act 2000, the government said in a statement. Palestine Action says it is a direct action and civil disobedience protest movement seeking to prevent serious violations of international law by Israel. Spraying red paint on warplanes is not terrorism. Causing disruption to the UK-based arms factories used by Israel's largest weapons firm, Elbit Systems, is not terrorism, co-founder Amori said. The terrorism and war crimes are being committed in Palestine by Israel, which is being armed by Britain and benefiting from British military support. Yeah. So you thought it was bad over here in the U.S. as far as like censorship and whatnot. And it's happening around the world. Anywhere you have Zionist activity like that, you're gonna see that repression, suppression, I should say. Ooh, coffee. Yeah, this is gonna be an early show today. We only got a few more left. We told you about Wimbledon. Right. We got protesters there, too. They urge Wimbledon to cut ties with Barclays over Israel business deals. Pro-Palestinian protesters urged Wimbledon to drop Barclays as a sponsor Monday because of the British bank's business dealings with Israel. About 24 protesters from Palestine Solidarity campaign demonstrated by the main entrance of the All England Club as thousands of fans arrived for day 1 of the tournament. They're the bank from the arms companies that are obviously supplying weapons to Israel. Protester Zalid Zalmay told the AP, "We should not be arming Israel. We should not be allowing anybody to facilitate arming them. And I think ties should be cut with Israel the same way that ties were cut with Russia." One protester held a sign that said Barclays is a sponsor of Wimbledon and genocide. They are. They do sponsor genocide. They love some genocide. Israel's war in Gaza, as we said, killed a lot of people, more than what that said. Wimbledon did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Barclays said it is proud of our partnership with Wimbledon and defended its business practices. We love some genocide. It's genocidally delicious. We provide a range of financial services and products to companies supplying defense products to the UK, NATO, and its allies, the company statement said. As NATO, the EU, and UK seek to increase their defense capabilities in response to increasing geopolitical threats, the provision of financial products and services to the defense sector is becoming increasingly important. Money, 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 money. Yeah, so. So wait, what is that? What happened? That was protesters at Wimbledon. Prescribed tea time. Julie, hello. Hello. Tea and crumpets. I don't know anything about England. They're probably like, fuck you, we don't do that shit. That's like shit you see on like PBS or something. Let's see what we got here. There it is. Wait, this is not right. Wait a minute. Did I not put that in? There we go. Okay, cool. I don't know where that went. So, the International Criminal Court, as we know, has levied charges against Israel, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and whatnot. And, of course, they've been sanctioned by the United States and other countries. And, well, of course, now they're getting cyber attacks. Targeted, sophisticated cyber attack hits International Criminal Court. The ICC said Monday it had identified and contained a targeted cybersecurity incident, the second such attack in the space of 2 years. The ICC said the incident came late last week, describing the attack as new, sophisticated, and targeted. A spokesman for the ICC told AFP he could not be more precise on the timing of the incident. The court is based in The Hague, the Hague girl, which last week hosted world leaders, including Trumpy, for a summit of the 32 members of the NATO military alliance. In 2023, the ICC suffered what it then said was an unprecedented cyber attack that it later revealed to have been an attempt at espionage. Espionage. The court's statement gave no details about a potential suspect for last week's attack, but the institution is currently pursuing several high-profile cases. It has an arrest warrant pending for President Vladimir Putin over the deportation of children from war-torn Ukraine to Russia. Former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte is in ICC detention awaiting possible trial for alleged murders carried out during his so-called war on drugs. The war on drugs. And the ICC has also issued an arrest warrant for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu for alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity during the war in Gaza. This sparked outrage in Washington, with Trump slapping sanctions on top ICC officials, including 4 judges and Chief Prosecutor Karim Khan. The ICC prosecutes individuals suspected of the world's worst crimes, including war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide, basically going after the Justice League villains is what they're going after, right? Let's see. Okay. All right. So finally, in our propaganda watch, usually we do some James Lee, but I only like to do the stuff where he's breaking down the propaganda of something. Today I'm going to end it a little differently. This is the Kush Through BLM movement forever on the tweeters. And so State Senator Mallory McMorrow just perfectly explained how Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill is the largest transfer of wealth from the lower class to the wealthiest 1%. Like I said, I'll have all these links in after the show is done. So if you want to share this link out too, I highly recommend you do so. President Biden, 14th Amendment, Eric Trump, Affordable Care Act, good riddance, Fauci, whatever. I don't know what that is. But this is State Senator Mallory McMorrow from Michigan. And she's laying down those fat beats and tasty rhymes. Like I said, this is about 4.5 minutes, but it's totally worth your time. Let's watch this.
Today, we are on the verge of the single largest redistribution of wealth from poor and working class Michiganders to the rich in our nation's history. That's what we're staring down in this so-called big, beautiful bill. And sure, if you're already wealthy, this bill is going to be great for you. If you earn more than $715,800, congratulations, you will get a tax cut of over $50,000. That tax cut alone is significantly higher than the $39,500 that the average Michigander earns in an entire year. Are you a foreign investor? Congratulations. Collectively, you will all get $23 billion in tax cuts next year alone. Are you in a position to leave more than $7 million to your heirs? Congratulations. You will get a cut to the estate tax. But how does this bill pay for all of this? By cutting the services that you rely on. This big bad bill cuts more than $200 billion from food assistance, potentially affecting 4 million children and 7 million adults nationwide. In Michigan, SNAP provides vital food assistance to over 1.4 million Michiganders. That's approximately 15% of our state's population. SNAP dollars fueled $2 billion in economic activity supporting farms and grocery stores, especially in our rural communities. But colleagues, proponents of this bill, and I have heard it here today, will argue that it's just about cutting so-called waste, fraud, and abuse, and that these cuts are necessary, and that enacting these cuts will benefit everybody. That argument is a flat-out lie. The University of Michigan economist Justin Wolfers analyzed the impact of all of the Trump policies combined. The cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP found in this big bad bill, the tax cuts here that overwhelmingly benefit the rich, and Trump's reckless tariff policy that adds cost to the food and the goods that so many of us rely on in our daily lives, with that additional cost not borne by the country of origin, not borne by the importer, not borne by the retailer, but passed on to you. Combined over the next 10 years, here's how those policies will impact you. If you are in the lowest 10% of earners making just under $19,000 a year, you will lose $2,600. If you're in the lowest 25% of earners making $40,000 a year, you will lose $1,600. If you're the median income earner, if you make $80,000 a year, you will lose $1,200. If you're in the top 75% of earners making $1,770, you will lose $600. If you're in the top 80% of earners, you will lose $500. Are you picking up on a trend here? But if you happen to be in the top 10% of earners earning over $250,000 a year, congratulations, you will gain an average of $7,200. 90% of Americans will lose money over the next 10 years to give the wealthiest 10% of Americans more money.
That's it.
That's insane. 50 years of trickle-down economics has shown us clearly that it simply does not work. The wealthiest Americans are wealthier than they ever have been before, while just about everyone else, from low income to middle class, is struggling to make ends meet. But do not fret, colleagues, because today we have an opportunity to stop this big bad disaster before it starts. I ask for your vote on this resolution today to send a message to our counterparts in Washington that we in the Michigan State Senate, those of us closer to the people on the ground, that we speak for Michiganders. Let's fight for all of our residents. Let's safeguard Medicaid. Let's safeguard Medicare. Let's safeguard funding for the Affordable Care Act. Let's safeguard cost savings for Michigan families on their energy costs. Support this resolution to say, from an independent state like Michigan, that Michigan legislators speak for Michiganders, not for the wealthiest 10% of us.
This ain't Satan. This is like some sort of like palms and shit, and like some sort of seal. You see the eyes. You'll be smoking that shit in the mornings. Y'all be waking and baking, seeing shit. But she ain't wrong, right? So she said over the next 10 years, like 80 to 90% of us will lose money because of this, but the top 10%, 10 or 20%, no problem, baby. What's up, Go Start? I saw you over there. Oh yeah, she's a ginger, my friend. She's gingerlicious. Yeah, and people say, oh, well, she needs to get in the national. No, she doesn't. They'll just eat her alive. They'll just take her down. Electing people ain't going to do it. You gotta stop the system. You got to change the system. If you don't change the system, you're just fucking around. So that is, wait, what? Why does this always do this? That's the Propaganda Watch, brought to you by Pizza Hut. No, I'm kidding. Okay. All right, where it goes. So, all right, that's basically almost the show for today. What is this, Tuesday? It feels like Friday for some reason. If you can, make sure you check out Kevin later, probably in about an hour and 40 minutes for Black Bear News. Hook him up. He needs help. He lost his home in the fires of L.A. If you could hook him up or share the links out, appreciate it. And I believe Willie had a show last night. And Dee is going to have her show tonight as well, as she usually does. Make sure you're checking out all our pals over here. And help out small independent media that's not trying to like suck you dry for cash and shit. Yeah, so finally today we got robots for you. So I gotta show you the robots first, and then I'll read the story because they didn't add video to the thing, so I got to do this piecemeal. And this has got some weird music to it, and it says "fuck it." So look, this is the 2025 World Humanoid Robot Games. This is the first test match. This is in Beijing, of course. So they're kicking around the thing. They're like, "Hey, there you go, Bob. Oh, so no, let me help you." And I ain't gonna lie, this looks like some special needs stuff. This looks like some Special Olympic shit. But look what these things can do, man. Look at that. What do you do? The pop and lock. So, anyway, you get the gist. It's them playing the shit there. Worst goalie ever, but probably still better than me. So, China's humanoid robots generate more soccer excitement than their human counterparts. Yeah, while China's men's soccer team hasn't generated much excitement in recent years, humanoid robot teams have won over fans in Beijing based more on the AI technology involved than any athletic prowess shown. 4 teams of humanoid robots faced off in fully autonomous 3-on-3 action in a kiddie pool full of KY jelly. On 3-on-3 soccer matches powered entirely by artificial intelligence on Saturday night in China's capital in what was touted as a first in China and a preview for the upcoming World Humanoid Robot Games set to take place there. According to the organizers, a key aspect of the match was that all the participating robots operated fully autonomously using AI-driven strategies without any human intervention or supervision. Equipped with advanced visual sensors, the robots were able to identify the ball and navigate the field with agility. They were also designed to stand up on their own after falling. However, during the match, several still had to be carried off the field on stretchers by staff, adding to the realism of the experience. I think they showed you that at the end there, where do they carry him off there? No, they don't. They're not going to show that. But yeah, robots, there you go. And I think that's what's going to, and probably within the next 50 years, robots are going to replace people in the NFL. Because they're going to want to see those wild ass hits and stuff like that. Look like the women's team. Damn. The Exorcist games. There you go. DiGiorno's, they deliver. That's DiGiorno. You're such. Why you speak the ill of people like that? All right, look out for independent shows. They're all over the place. That's good to know. Kevin's coming up with Black Bear News soon. I'll be back on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, right here on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. We're looking into other avenues to explore, but we'll see. So, Highlight is my kind of game to watch. This is Bupkis. Now, if you get those robots to do Highlight, Highlight is kind of cool. It's just like using physics, right? You got that scoop and you throw that ball and it does like that weird shit and then it bounces off the things and comes back and you got to catch it with the scoop. It's kind of cool. It's funsies if you're into that sort of thing. Maybe you're not. Who knows? I ain't getting in your business. So yeah, Friday, July 4th, it will be the next show. So hopefully you will join us for your Friday, July 4th festivities as we have fireworks of more bad news coming your way as we often do. So thanks everybody. Appreciate you. Be well, be safe. Don't take any wooden nickels and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace.
This is City Alpha 5. Woo!